Hello and welcome to Coach's Decision, a sports show hosted here in the Monterey Bay Area. We talk about sports here and beyond. My name is Thomas Todd. We are in the lovely KSCO studios tonight. I am joined by the only SEC team not in the college football top 25 right now, the University of Joaquin Nagel.
Thank you, Thomas.
How's it going, bud?
I'm excited to be the lone West Coast representative of the SEC.
It's the Southeastern, Southwestern Conference. Who cares?
I am from the south of my heart, I guess.
Really?
I love Southern rap.
Oh, okay.
Outcast,
and you have family
UGK.
You have family from the southern part of the Western Hemisphere, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Or what do you call the quarters of the world? You got the hemispheres, the northern and what if you're in the
I think I don't know how you designate the cross sections thereof.
South America in the Southwest Hemisphere.
Sure.
Okay. We're going to go with that.
The Southwestern Hemisphere.
We're also going to go with some Tom Brady. We're going to go with some New York City cops attacking people. We're going to talk about Serena continuing on and on in her quest for the calendar slam. But let's start with that Tom Brady thing, because we can finally put a bow on Deflategate, because the season starts tomorrow. The Patriots kick off against the Steelers. Roger Goodell will not be in attendance. ESPN and Outside the Lines put out a huge piece. I read all 8,000 or 9,000 words of it.
Was it as good as Simmons on Manny? 12,000 words of Simmons on Manny?
See, that was some slurpage, though. This was divisive. This was everything from Spygate to Deflategate, everything that happened in between, everyone's opinions from different owners of different teams to staffers on the Patriots, former staffers talking about what exactly the culture of cheating was with the Patriots. And the more you read the article, the more defamatory it is towards the Patriots, the less you can think well of them or good of them at all for at least trying not to cheat. Because from everything it looks like, Bill Belichick was aware of the rules, did not care, continued to find ways to break them. The best line in the article was, Belichick's the guy you want to do your taxes, because when they cover up the loopholes, he'll find new ones. So what was more heinous, Deflategate, Spygate, or the cover-up?
Could it be the article?
It could be the article. Well, and the Patriots responded with, we are a classy organization with a classy owner who's done everything the right way, who supported the commissioner, yada, yada, yada.
The word classy is just the most overused term in sports, isn't it?
Are there non-classy franchises?
Is there ever a non-classy owner?
Dan Snyder?
Is any billionaire not going to call himself classy?
Richard Branson's British. That's the definition of class. Trump's not really classy. I don't think
Jerry
he would
Jones.
use that word. He has his son-in-law wipe his sunglasses clean during games. That's
true.
That's class all the way.
I was worried where you were going with that one for a moment, Thomas.
I don't know what things Jerry Jones has who wipe, but I just think it's really interesting that, the Patriots come out the big winners in this because Tom Brady won't miss any games.
See, I thought the big loser in the article, I know a lot of Patriots fans are mad about ESPN supposedly skewering the Patriots, who it seems like ESPN is talking about all the time, but I really think it's Goodell. I think Goodell's the big loser from this article.
I was going to get to that. I think he should now be fired. When it comes out that they destroyed all those tapes.
Well, that's been out for years.
That's fine, but then to add that onto the bad science that they used, the hiring of an outside investigator who was not an outside investigator. Ted Wells had already worked with the NFL and was on retainer with them. And then Goodell deciding that he was the arbiter, not once, but twice in this case, so much so that it had to go to a real judge who immediately reversed the decision.
Well, the judge ruled that Goodell didn't operate within the confines of the collective bargaining agreement, not that the NFL was wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong. To not operate.
No, but he didn't.
He didn't say Tom Brady didn't deflate footballs.
Right. He didn't. The judge didn't exonerate the Patriots of all wrongdoing.
But that's
he just reversed the decision based on legal grounds.
Basically, so Roger Goodell's like Channing Tatum in 21 Jump Street, where he can catch the bad guy, but he doesn't know how to read him his Miranda rights. So you can't actually get him. You can't get him in trouble.
Yeah,
because you don't know how to do the process.
But I don't think that the owners. Even after reading that, I don't think that the owners are particularly mad at Goodell right now.
The owners don't want Roger Goodell to point out bad things players are doing.
Yes.
They want them, once those things come to the surface, to accurately punish them in a way that the fans and the media are
satisfied with
and just watch the games. If that's not what the owners want, I don't know what they're doing.
They just don't want any heat on them. The owners don't want any of the heat coming back to the owners. So as long as all the heat falls on Goodell, I don't see where the owners would have a problem.
Right.
Do they have anyone in the wings waiting to be the new fall guy for the owners?
Isn't it Condoleezza Rice? Isn't she up for every commissioner
Every
job?
commissioner job, but she's going to be college first.
Okay. I just think it's interesting because another part of the article mentioned how many owners are just straight up happy with Goodell because they feel he has made the league so much money personally. But I think any commissioner could have done that. This sport's popularity has to do with the product on the field and the marketability of guys like Brady and Peyton Manning.
It has to do with how easy it is to play fantasy football and to bet on football. Football owns a day of the week, which makes it incredibly easy to follow. Like, it just simplifies everything for the public.
Well, and they're actually ruining that, I feel, by spreading the games out to Thursday and Saturday. And, you know, Monday Night Football was cool just to have that end cap, you know, have that one extra primetime game to look forward to, have another day to have fun with. But I think it should all be played on Sunday except for the Monday game.
I was always fine with the Saturday games late in the year once the college regular season is over, but I don't understand the Thursday game at all.
It doesn't make any sense. It throws off everybody's schedule. I mean, it makes each team more money because it's another primetime game you can sell. And NFL Network, you know, obviously shows the game. So
you're statistically more likely to have your players get hurt and to lose the game you play on a Thursday in the shortened week.
And now I have to think about my fantasy team all week? This is why Roger Goodell should be fired.
See, I really just want to think about my fantasy team in the last 2 hours I'm supposed to be doing work on Friday.
Exactly. Well, you're a 9-to-5er, so you understand the grind, or you're at least a Monday through Friday, so you understand that grind. I'm all over the place. I don't even have internet access when I'm at work, so I'm dark.
You're dark all the time. You're watching the television.
Yeah, I can't do anything about it, though. Can't get out my phone and switch my lineup. But we've gotten way off topic here. We don't have to talk about Deflategate ever again. I just want to know how upset I am about Roger Goodell, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady. All these people do not come out looking good. All of these things will be mentioned in the first or second paragraph of their Wikipedia page.
I don't think any of the heat for Deflategate comes back to Tom Brady. Or not for Deflategate, for Spygate. We got to stop using gate for every scandal.
I know. It just
Watergate
happened.
was a hotel.
There
it
weren't
wasn't
even
a
any
thing.
gates.
No, it was just the name of a hotel.
Well, Balghazi wasn't much better. That was just disrespectful to people who died for like something political. Like
yes.
that I didn't like that either. I was looking back at some old quote unquote Deflategate articles and they called it Balghazi, and I was like, well, I'm kind of glad we moved on.
We moved
from
on for that one. That was good.
We'll
yeah,
leave that one to death.
When it came to the spying controversy of the Patriots videotaping other teams' signals and potentially even videotaping the walkthrough of the Rams practice pre-Super Bowl, I don't think that Tom Brady wasn't in a position to be making decisions. And when Spygate came down in 2006, they said they had 7 years of tapes, and Tom Brady wasn't even a starter for that whole time period.
Right, and he's not there with cameras. You know, if he's looking at footage, it's because the footage was got by Belichick and his minions. The other thing in the article was talking about sending undercover guys, covering up their Patriots logos, claiming to be from made-up companies, sending a guy out in an NFL film sweatshirt to go film stuff. You know, that's just rude. I mean, cheating is cool in baseball when you're trying to steal signals.
Well, there's no way to throw a pitch at Belichick.
That's true, yeah.
You can't go out there and they're going to punish teams for headhunting. So
I mean, the devil tried to send justice in the form of Bernard Carmel Pollard to take out Gronk and to take out Brady, but it just hasn't worked. They just keep coming back.
Just keep coming and coming and coming.
Speaking of people who just keep coming and coming, we'll move on to tennis. We have a couple of tennis stories in our lead, which means some shocking things have happened to have tennis in our lead. Serena Williams.
Maybe we're just more cultured. We're a classy show, Thomas.
We're classy?
We're classy. We like tennis.
Okay. In the show The League, they talk about when they say it's a classy ball player, it's usually like a Japanese guy, right? He's real classy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was just trying to remember that scene. Serena Williams has beaten her sister in 3 sets to reach the semis at the U.S. Open to try and complete the calendar slam. Why did Venus win a set?
Because Venus was bringing it. Venus is great.
I think Venus is fantastic too, but she's the 25th ranked player in this tournament.
But she's still one of the biggest servers, and so on her day when her serve's working, she can definitely win. And she also has a long wingspan. She can track down a lot of the balls that Serena usually gets past other players.
But I'm not even saying that. Like, why would she win a set? Why wouldn't you just lay down as your sister's trying to do the most monumental thing that's anyone done in 20 years?
Well, when
tennis?
the first time Serena ever won 4 consecutive slams, she wound up beating Venus in all 4 title matches, and Venus didn't lie down in those.
Right, but I think Venus is at a point in her career where it's like...
Venus is at a point in her career where reaching the semis of the U.S. Open right now could cement her legacy as one... would vault her further into the echelons of tennis.
Thing.
Yeah, and it's a place where she's had success. It's a place where she made the finals as a 17-year-old. It's where she broke onto the international tennis scene.
Okay, so I know how you're going to answer my next question. Was it a sell job to give Venus a set just to make sure that no one thought there was collusion?
I wish. Okay. No, but watching the first set, you could see that both were playing at the top of their game.
Okay, so Serena moves on to face Roberta Vinci. Simona Halep, the number 2 ranked player in the tournament, faces Flavia Panetta, not Leon Panetta's daughter. I looked it up.
Bummer.
In the other semifinal.
We need a little local flavor over at the U.S. Open.
So, I mean, Halep is clearly the favorite to beat Panetta and face Serena. Serena will probably get through Roberta Vinci and win this tournament.
Yes.
And we've already talked about on the show that cementing her legacy as maybe the greatest female athlete of all time in any sport, which is crazy to think about because female athletes have existed for at least 3 or 4 decades. So,
Babe was a big female athlete, right, in the early 2000s?
Babe Ruth, womanizer through and through. Don't put your head on the microphone. That's bad radio. All right, speaking of bad policy and people being bad at their jobs, retired tennis player James Blake, he was
pretty good. He was world number 4 at one point in time.
Number 4, he was the best U.S. tennis player at the time. He was coming up. He was described in the news segment before our show went on as biracial, which the guy said with a straight face, which I think is funny. I haven't heard that term in a while. Was detained by police for 15 minutes after being slammed to the ground by 5 plainclothes police officers attempting to bust him for a credit card identity theft scam that he had nothing to do with.
According to Blake, he was texting on his phone, waiting for a car to take him to the U.S. Open to do some promotional engagements.
Do you know how much credit card fraud you can do via text these days?
When he saw someone running at him, and he just thought it was a fan asking for an autograph because he always had such positive receptions at the U.S. Open as at the time, greatest U.S. tennis player. Instead, it's a plainclothes police officer who picks him up, tackles him, and says, "Don't say a word."
Did he read him his Miranda rights at least?
That's the initial interaction. Eventually, 4 other plainclothes officers came.
And one of them is like, "Hey, that's James Blake."
Yeah.
Who? James Blake, the tennis player. Sheepish look.
Sheepish. Okay, I guess we'll let him go.
So just cuts and bruises for Mr. Blake, but his quote, "In my mind, there's probably a race factor involved, but no matter what, there's no reason for anyone to do that to anybody. You think they could say, hey, we want to talk to you, we're looking into something. I was just standing there, I wasn't running. It's not even close to being okay. It's blatantly unnecessary. Do you agree with the race thing?"
It's hard to disagree.
Especially with NYPD and what they've gone through with the Eric Garner situation and just this whole country, what they've gone through with cops.
And the stop and frisk policy in New York in general, and the general acceptance
they didn't frisk him. They stopped him. They ground and pounded him.
The ground. I didn't know stop and frisk had moved on to ground and pound.
Jesus. Ground and pounding a millionaire, too, by the way. This man is a millionaire.
They just, but they had a general accepted policy of profiling. And so it's hard to not then associate their actions towards minorities as having to do with profiling. So when someone had identified him as potentially one of the suspects, why physical action would be taken first is beyond me.
See, that's not the part that bothers me. The part is the initial running at somebody, not handcuffing, not waiting for your guys to get together so you can...
When you see him still, and you have 4 other plainclothes guys in the area, you could probably tactically surround him.
It probably looked like something from a cartoon or like something from a silly movie.
It's also right outside of Midtown Hyatt, right?
Which is where, like I said, credit card fraud happens.
Yeah, but they also have cameras everywhere.
Yeah, no, it was a ridiculous situation.
And this is also... remarkably happened the same day that it was announced that the NYPD dropped their charges against Pero Antich, and they've finally scheduled the criminal trial against Thabo Sefolosha.
Sefolosha's going to get some justice.
Yeah, but initially it's just that the NYPD hasn't dropped charges of obstruction of justice against Thabo Sefolosha. So his trial just today was announced to be happening in early October, and then this happens to another athlete in the city.
So what's happening is really confusing because if we know this is happening because it's happening to public figures, imagine how many times it's happening to just random people.
That's exactly what Blake brought up, that he initially didn't really want to talk about it because he was in shock, and he just didn't want to have to bring it up and speak publicly about it. But he understood that he had or at least felt that he has a responsibility because he has a public voice, and that if this could happen to him, someone with a public voice, and he doesn't use that public voice to speak out, what is happening to everyone else, and where do they get their voice heard?
I absolutely agree with you. Okay, James Blake, keep talking about this. I'm going to talk about 99 Bottles, premier dining and drinking destination in downtown Santa Cruz, one of my personal favorite places to grab a bite or a drink. Dozens and dozens of beers on the menu. It's too many to even try. I haven't gotten through them all. If you drink enough, they'll put a brick with your name on the wall. The place is built on alcoholics and random strangers drinking together. It's a wonderful place. You can also watch sports there. They have TVs behind the bar and upstairs. Trivia Wednesday nights. They have a pint night they do every week. You can check them out. They are on Walnut Street between Pacific and Cedar. It's the place to be downtown. 99 Bottles on Walnut between Pacific and Cedar. All right, we're going to bring on our best friend, our show's best friend, Daniel Zarchy, today to talk about some baseball, and then he's going to stay on the line and help us do some NFL picks for the week. Hi, how you doing, Danny?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You're fantasy drafting right now, aren't you?
As we speak.
So I've known Danny for many, many years. I knew you pre-fantasy. You didn't even play fantasy sports.
You got me into fantasy.
I did.
You owe me about 10,000 hours of my life I'm never going to get back.
Hey, 10,000 hours, doesn't Malcolm Gladwell say you'd be good at it by now?
Well, I'm really good at wasting time. I am an expert at wasting time.
Good, good. Well, when you get a job, maybe you won't play as much fantasy. But let's talk about some reality. Matt Harvey has been a focal point of baseball news this week. He's coming up on his 180 innings cap. It wasn't really a cap that the Mets gave him, but it was a number they were trying to not go over. He's at 171 now. And GM Sandy Alderson says he'll start 2 more times this season against the Yankees on September 18th and 1 more time against the Nats to close out the season. What is your opinion? Is he being overused, underused? Is this too big of a story, not big enough of a story?
I mean, you can't talk about inning limits without talking about Steven Strasburg, because the Nationals had the same issue. They were worried about his health. And as a result, he didn't pitch in the playoffs, and the Nationals lost in the playoffs. With the Mets dominating the NL East this year, it sure looks like that might be a similar thing. Now, Harvey has said he's going to pitch in the playoffs if they make it.
But he's not in charge.
But he's not in charge. But neither is Scott Boras. I mean,
Scott Boras is more in charge than Matt Harvey.
It's hard to say because there's no definitive evidence either way. Strasburg has had lots of injury issues despite doing that. But then again, you've got guys like Jose Fernandez where they presumably did everything right, and he got hurt. And you've got guys like Madison Bumgarner where you presumably did everything wrong. You let him pitch every day for 10 years, and he's still fine.
So you think it's random enough that innings caps like this may be absolutely pointless?
I don't think it's random, and I think that there is. It does make sense to be prudent because you've got just as much anecdotal evidence of people like Matt Latos who were studs in their rookie years, and Latos pitched extra in 2010 because the Padres were about to make the playoffs and were in the division race with the Giants, obviously, and basically pitched the whole year, threw a lot more innings than anybody expected he would, and really kind of flamed out after that.
So now
you can't say for sure that was why, but it certainly makes you concerned.
Well, so Nats management has said, 3 years ago, we don't regret anything. Steven Strasburg in 2012 being shut down. They say they have no regrets. Everything's gone the way they wanted to. But they didn't win a World Series. Heck, they haven't even gotten to one. Do you worry about the Mets because this is not a team that's, had a lot of playoff success or even been in the playoffs recently? Shouldn't you try to roll the dice when you make the playoffs? Because we've seen it's a crapshoot. Some bad Giants teams have won some World Series. Some not bad, but differently put together Florida Marlins teams have won. Shouldn't you try to win in the playoffs once you get there?
I don't necessarily think that that's true, or at least in this case, that that's what the Mets would necessarily have to do. The Mets, even without Matt Harvey, have probably the best 1 through 4 of all the teams currently slated to go to the playoffs. I mean, the Cardinals are giving them a run for their money, but with Steven Matz and the way he's pitching and Syndergaard And even the way Bartolo Colon is pitching, the Mets look pretty good.
Imagine if Bartolo Colon is like their Yusmeiro Petit, where he comes in for 3-4 inning bunches in the middle of World Series games. No, I'm being serious. In the playoffs, where he comes in and just plays like that stretch man.
Fastball.
Yeah, he's the perfect guy for that. I think he's perfectly suited the way he throws, and his arm will never fall off again. I mean, it already fell off. The Germans put it back together. It's now like, it's not a cannon anymore, but it's a very reliable arm, and I think he can play that Yusmeiro Petit role once they get to the playoffs. But like you're saying, they're going to have to go a lot of 7-8 inning games with these stud starters pitching, and hopefully Matt Harvey can be one of these guys because he's so good.
Yeah, and maybe if you put Matt Harvey as like your fourth starter with the option to so that he will never pitch more than once in a series. Something like that. That might be the best way to manage it.
Would you actually do that, though? Because that's risky. He's better than Noah Syndergaard. Wouldn't you rather have Syndergaard being the one guy or the guy to pitch once, not twice?
I mean, the other question is really if Matt Harvey is still really good. I mean, he's really good, don't get me wrong, but would you rather have somebody who's throwing deeper into the season than he's ever done before, who's already shown, who has the tendency to kind of implode at times, or would you rather have somebody who's not necessarily quite as talented, but...
Well, it's not like Syndergaard and DeGrom are 220-inning pitchers every year. These guys are people to watch, too. I guess it's just that Harvey's their special talent, and he's coming off the kind of injury that Strasburg has suffered in his career.
Yeah, we're talking about fundamentally different amounts of innings. Syndergaard is just above 150. And Harvey is, as you said, about 180.
171, yeah.
Right, yeah. In the 170s. Harvey also has, he pitched really well in August, but in his two starts in September have already been terrible. So, two starts is not enough to actually show that he's doing poorly, but if he's telling the team that he feels tired, if he feels like his arm is getting really tired, then it might not serve to push it. That's my point.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the Mets in the playoffs. Some other teams are probably going to see in the playoffs, but we'll see in what role. The Yankees and the Blue Jays, they're fighting it out tough in the AL East. We've talked about how the Blue Jays are the better team, but the Yankees just aren't going away. I'm personally worried.
Yep.
I'm personally worried about not seeing the Mets in the playoffs. I'm also worried about seeing the Blue Jays in a wild card game get eliminated in some like 9-8 or 11-10 kind of game and not being able to see those bats go through to the playoffs. Do you have the same concern? Are you enjoying watching the Blue Jays as much as I am?
I think the Blue Jays, I am all in on the Blue Jays. And
we are flawed if we are not free. They're the most flawed, excellent team we've seen in a long time.
But they're also not that flawed. Their pitching staff is not as good as most of the other contenders, but that offense is absurd. That offense is ridiculous. It's a super team. And they do have some really good pieces. They're going to have David Price pitching twice in every playoff
Price
series.
is twice as nice. I just came up with that. See, that's a T-shirt right there.
That doesn't actually make any sense, but it's true.
Thanks,
Mark Burley, Marco Estrada, even Drew Hutchinson. These guys are not terrible.
Yeah, but when you get to the playoffs, it is about who's the starting pitcher. Like Madison Bumgarner single-handedly won the Giants a World Series. David Price could do that, but what if he doesn't show up in Game 1 and and that's the wild card game, or they could lose a Game 1 of a 7-game series and recover. But that's the thing about the wild card round is it's so random.
Would you rather have Madison Bumgarner pitching 50 innings, or would you rather have David Price pitching 35 innings, but Josh Donaldson hit 17 home runs?
Yeah, give me Josh Donaldson and David Price. You're right, Danny. You're absolutely right.
Right.
All right.
It's not just Josh Donaldson. It's Jose Bautista, Encarnacion, Tulowitzki. Every single guy on that team is a better hitter than anyone on the Giants.
I'm going to make an admission here. When people were referencing Joey Bats for the first time a few years ago, I thought they were talking about Joey Votto. Because that man bats.
Joey Vats.
Joey Vats. Yeah, no, Joey Votto's hitting like crazy, remembering that he's one of the best hitters in the league. We're going to wrap up your segment right now, Danny. I'm going to do a live read, and then we're going to do some NFL picks with you, so stay on the line here.
Great.
All right, we're going to talk about our friend Ken Keegan. He's a local artist here in Santa Cruz, also a close personal baseball friend of mine. He's excited about those Mets. You can find his art on artwanted.com by searching Ken Keegan. He does a lot of cool stuff with landscapes and portraits and funny-looking cheese people. Ken's really talented. He's a really good guy. We're going to have him on the show once the playoffs start. We're going to kick Zarchy off because we're going to have an actual authentic Mets fan. So that's Ken Keegan, Keegan, on artwanted.com. Thank you, Ken. All right, not only do we have Zarchy on the line now, we're also bringing in Producer Tory because we're going to have a weekly NFL pick segment where the 4 of us bozos make NFL picks. Every week we're going to pick the 3 or 4 or 5 or however many there are prime time games, the games we're all going to be able to see on national networks. We're going to pick against the spread in those games, and then we're each going to select 2 extra wild card games of our choosing to try to put some distance between each other to see who the best NFL picker is. Now, I'm probably the biggest NFL fan of the bunch. Zarchy, you're a pretty big fan. Joaquin and Tory, you guys have your own levels of expertise. Joaquin, you're a numbers guy. Tory, I know you and the spreadsheets are, I'm not even going to go to that.
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand, Microsoft Office Clip and Microsoft Office Clip.
Quippy and Quippy.
Clippy's going to come up on every show till we die. So we're going to pick these games every week. We're going to announce who's ahead, going into every week. We'll talk about all our teams and why we're going to pick them.
And then at the end of the
Joaquin wants to shove season, like a Woodstock's Pizza Cinnabread in my face.
Yeah, something at the end of the season, the winner gets to pie the loser with a Woodstock's Pizza Cinnabread.
We're going to put ice cream on the Cinnabread.
That's a working punishment.
And that brings us to our sponsor. Our sponsor of our NFL pick segment this year is going to be Woodstock's Pizza. They have locations all over California in every college town: San Diego, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, Davis, Chico, and right here in Santa Cruz. So they're going to sponsor us because they have the NFL Sunday Ticket. They play as many games as they can every week. They love having people in for football. They do football specials. They've got a Kickin' Carnitas pizza this year that I really want you to try, Joaquin. Carnitas and pizza go hand in hand. So thank you to Woodstock.
But do they go pie and face?
They do go pie and face. I'm so excited to not be the loser of this. I don't even care if I win. I just don't want to lose.
It's going to be a mad dash at the end.
So we're going to start with our first primetime game. I'm going to make my picks last because I'm the host and I get to decide. Zarchy, I'm going to make you pick first. So our first game was the Pats are favored by 7 over the Steelers. What's your pick and your reasoning?
I take the Patriots -7.
Why is that?
And I think that the Pats are going to win this game. They're going to beat the spread because the Steelers' whole winning strategy is predicated on an amazing offense and absolutely zero defense.
Yeah, they really don't have much on defense, do they?
And they're missing 2 crucial parts of their offense in Bryant and Bell. And the Patriots are going to be able to score at will.
Okay.
And they're at home.
All right.
So, I looked at this and I said I would have taken the Patriots up to -10. So -7 is an easy call for me.
Okay, it's a good buy, Joaquin.
I'm also taking the Patriots. I think that they're coming out hot after the Deflategate reversal.
How excited are those fans going to be? Is it going to be the loudest stadium in the history of football?
Imagine everyone who had that ticket thinking they weren't going to see Brady. And
That's
now they
amazing.
Potentially get to see the Patriots in FU mode.
That's like when my buddy Derek picked Tom Brady because he was drunk in our fantasy league, and oh no, I forgot he was suspended. That's how happy he is now.
Exactly.
To have Tom Brady as his quarterback.
Well, the day after was when the suspension got lifted.
Well, yeah, exactly, and he didn't know. He didn't know the suspension had been lifted for quite a while because the hangover is brutal. Tori, what do you got in this game?
I'm going with the Pats. Scorched earth.
Oh,
I hate picking the Pats, but scorched earth. All that Deflategate frustration is going to go into Tom Brady destroying.
Yeah, let's make it a clean sweep. I think the hometown crowd's going to do it. Like Danny mentioned, Le'Veon Bell not playing, one of the 3 best running backs in football. So that's really going to hurt. The Steelers aren't going to be able to control the tempo because they can't run and they don't have any defense. So we all 4 pick Pats -7, and that's no fun. So let's try this again. Our next game we're picking is Cowboys -6 over the Giants. Go ahead, Danny.
I'm taking Giants +6.
Oh, boy.
The Giants actually have a passing game this year.
You're down with ODB?
I'm down with ODB. The Cowboys, I think if the Giants had caught the Cowboys mid-season, once the Cowboys had figured out the running game, it would be a little more frightening. But I think the mix of Randall and McFadden and
Lance
Michael
Dunbar.
I mean, nobody really knows, and they haven't really found their stride.
Okay,
so
you're going to take the
there's
Giants.
Certainly the problem. Yeah, there's certainly the fear that Romo's is going to pass the Dez like 87 times, but it doesn't scare me more than a touchdown.
Okay.
So I'm taking Giants.
Okay, Victoria.
I'm sorry, Eli. I'm picking the Cowboys.
Oh, you love Eli so much.
I know.
You think he's a top 10
You're
quarterback?
picking Romo over Eli?
Okay,
You can still change it right now.
So,
Well, Eli sexual is not a very good catchphrase.
so last
that's
season,
it. You betrayed your team. What else can you do? That's it. Joaquin, pick.
I'm taking
you betrayed her team.
I'm taking the boys.
Taking the Cowboys?
I am. High-powered offense.
I am joining Danny. I'm taking the Giants. I agree. Their running back situation is a mess. I do not trust Darren McFadden with anything. Not a committee I want to get behind with Joseph Randall. They're not competent. I think ODB is going to have a big game. I think the Giants, if they do lose, it's a close one. So I'm going to take the Giants. All right, moving on. Eagles are favored by 3 over the Falcons. Let's start this time with Joaquin.
I'm taking the Falcons.
Why is that?
I like this one to be a shootout. I like taking the home underdog.
It is going to be a shootout. I completely agree with you on that. Both of these defenses are questionable, and the offenses are so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. I can see this game ending within 3 points either way.
Okay.
And so that's why I take the home team.
Okay, Tory.
Philly might be one of the best teams in the NFC, but Sam Bradford hasn't played a regular season game since October of 2013.
Yeah, that's
so I'm leaning towards the Falcons.
Okay, Tory's taking the Falcons. Zarchy?
See, my problem is that I'm trying to rationalize the Eagles winning this game with the fact that I have absolutely no faith in Sam Bradford.
And see, I've done that. I've absolutely done that because you can say all you want that, DeMarco Murray has a lot of tread on his tires or doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires. You can say Sam Bradford's going to get hurt, but they're not going to get hurt the first 5 minutes of the season. It's going to start to fall apart in the middle of the season when Bradford eventually gets hurt and Murray breaks down. So right now I'm going to bet on the Chip Kelly experience, even though I don't quite believe in Murray over McCoy. So I'm going to take Chip Kelly -3. Did you land on that eventually?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there are going to be 70 points scored in this game. But and both teams have an offense, but only the Eagles have a defense. So I'm going Eagles -3.
Yeah, and I absolutely don't believe in Sam Bradford, Mark Sanchez in the long run as your quarterback tandem. But I think it's going to work in the short term, and they can still win 10 games even with not being that exciting or that good of a team. I like Matt Ryan, but he can't get his team out of this sticky of a situation. That defense is so thin.
We're not talking about the whole season here, Thomas.
No, I know. But the first week usually represents a lot about how the whole season goes, and that's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm taking the Eagles. Our last game before we get to the wild cards is Vikings -2.5 over the hometown 49ers. Tory.
Am I allowed to be shallow and pick the 49ers?
Have you always been shallow? Is this a new development?
No, I've always been shallow.
Okay.
But I have logic. Victor Cruz is on my team for fantasy, and I really want the points.
Double dipping.
So wait, who are you taking?
I'm taking the 49ers.
Taking the 49ers. Okay, Joaquin?
I'm taking the Niners just for posterity once. We'll see how...
Posterity?
Just just showing hometown support at least once during the season before I just disparage them over and over again.
And the biggest homer I know, Daniel Zarchy, is taking the 49ers, right?
You want to know how bad the Niners are this year?
You're taking the Vikings. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness.
Because I think that this line was created with some sort of hometown advantage in mind, and it does not exist in Levi's.
Well, they don't even have a good field.
They don't have a field. The stadium is awful. The traffic is terrible. Everybody hates it there. It's too hot. It's been 95 degrees here all week. I mean, everyone's going to be miserable, including the Niners. I think Kaepernick is going to be running for his life the entire time, and so I don't see how they're gonna overcome what the Vikings have. So I'm saying Vikings.
I do like those two ends that the Vikings have, Everson Griffin and the other guy's name I'm blanking on. The Niners lost Mike Iupati, which I think is a really big deal. Offensive line continuity is really important in the NFL, and he was a really, really good offensive lineman. And he now goes across the division to Arizona. I know he's hurt right now, so he's not really going to be playing, but that might not have happened if he stayed in San Francisco, so you don't know. I thought losing him was a big deal, and the depth on defense is gone. They had a deep, deep team for 3 or 4 seasons there, and it's all gone. They have role-playing linebackers and defensive backs that are now their starters. Eric Reed's one more hit away from his career being over. He's going to become the defensive Wes Welker if he's not careful. So I'm taking the Vikings here, and I don't think it's close. I don't think the Niners win more than 6 or 7 games this season, and I think this is how they start against a much-improved Vikings team who have some weapons on offense, and Terry Bridgewater, who will not lose them games. He may not win them a whole lot of games.
Terry Bridgewater?
Sorry, I always say Terry. It's Teddy. I know it's Teddy. I don't want any grown man to be named Teddy.
The problem
What about
with the
Roosevelt?
Niners,
It wasn't his name. Sorry.
the thing about the Niners is that Balky has been drafting for depth for a decade. And that's been good because they've had good starters. And so Balky takes injured guys. He takes guys who have some question marks because he can get them late in the draft. He drafts guys like Tank Carradine thinking, well, he's not going to play for 1 or 2 years, but after that he'll be solid.
Yeah, and Aaron Lynch, who's now a starter.
Now, if every one of those guys turns out to be what we hope they could be, the Niners might not be awful. But that's a big if.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to our wild card picks because we're running out of time here. Joaquin, let's start with your 2 teams. Give us really brief explanations on your 2 picks.
I'm taking the Rams at home over the Seahawks.
How many points?
4.5.
Getting 4.5?
Getting 4.5 at home to the Seahawks.
You worried about Cam Chancellor being out?
I'm worried about that. I think the Seahawks are going to be a big-time public team. I think they're getting a little boost from that at the first week. I like the Rams this year.
Public team. You sound like a gambler. I like it.
And I'm also taking the Chargers -3 over the Lions because, you YOLO with the bolo tie.
I stared at that one for a long time before deciding not to pick it. All right, Victoria, what are your 2 teams?
I'm taking the Jets because when your best weapon is Isaiah Crowell and you're up against one of the better rush defenses, you're going to have a bad
Taking
time.
them over the Browns. What's the spread in that game?
3 to Cleveland.
3 to Cleveland. Okay.
And I'm taking Green Bay over Chicago just because.
That's a 7-point spread.
Yeah, that's a big
know,
one.
But the
I
Bears
stared
have
at that
one
one
of
for a while.
the worst defenses.
They're getting better. They brought in some coaches. They brought in Vic Fangio from the 49ers, actually, who's going to shore up that defense, and John Fox, whose defenses always get better.
Also, you have to worry about the Packers receiving core.
That is true. They do have this stud kid whose name I can't remember who's going to fill in the slot. They're going to move Cobb to the outside to play the Jordy Nelson role. So we'll see how they do.
Kid named James Jones.
No, not that kid. No, they have a rookie who he's kind of like a Randall Cobb, but he's younger. I can't.
I think you're talking about Ty Montgomery.
I am, yes.
The problem with picking the Bears is that even with Vic Fangio, the Packers averaged something like a 40-point margin of victory against the Bears last year.
Yeah, but it's not the same coach or defensive coach.
The Packers are really good, and the Bears are really bad.
Okay. Is that one of your picks?
No, it's not. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the 3 of us all came up with different picks.
Yeah, what did you pick?
My first pick is Bucks -3 against the Titans.
You playing the Rookie Bowl, Winston versus Mariota?
I'm playing the Rookie Bowl, and as much as I hate to acknowledge that Jameis Winston exists or has any value to society whatsoever, which he does not.
Wow.
He is. I'm sorry.
He had some crab. He got some free crab legs, and you're all upset. Your nickname was Mooch in college, Dan. You ate every French fry off every plate I ever got.
You can't call
complaining about a man taking free food.
It's more his extracurricular sexual assault that I'm concerned with.
Okay, well, all sexual assault's extracurricular. It's weird to do it in the classroom. What's your second pick?
Much as I hate to admit it, he's good at football and he has good weapons. And Marcus Mariota cannot overcome the lack of anything around him.
Yeah, they have no talent. They have no talent in Tennessee. So what's your second pick?
My second pick is Chiefs +1 at Houston.
I took that one as well.
And, as a Hard Knocks fan, it would certainly help the Texans if they still had Charles James second. But without Arian Foster, they don't have an offense. And until we see J.J. Watt play every position, including quarterback, all at once.
Alfred Blue is terrible.
Yeah.
I think Alex Smith and his cool checkdowns are gonna be more than the Texans can handle.
Well, that's the thing. The Chiefs are competent on both sides of the ball. They have great defensive players. They have pretty good offensive players. Alex Smith is a game manager. Andy Reid can manage, the first 3.5 quarters of the game, but he's a really good coach. The Texans are going to struggle.
Here's my question.
Yeah, go for it.
Here's my question. If you were to list the top 5 offensive players in this game, how many of them are on the Chiefs? 4?
Jamal Charles is probably the best player in this game.
Jamal Charles, Jeremy Maclin.
Travis Kelce.
Alex Smith is
He's
much better than Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer was the 27th in QBR last season, ESPN's quarterback ranking. 27th. He was below Geno Smith. That's who's quarterbacking this game. I'm definitely taking the Chiefs. Thank you for helping me reaffirm my decision, Danny.
Sure. So
who else do you got,
That's one
Thomas?
I feel good about.
The other game I took the Raiders, plus 3.5 against the Bengals. I think the Bengals have a terrible season this year, and I think it all starts by losing to Derek Carr and the Raiders. The Bengals are not a playoff team, and I'm really hoping that Derek Carr and Amari Cooper hit it off, because that would be some fun local games that we're forced to watch. So I'm betting on that and the return of the Mac. I love Khalil Mack, one of my favorite defensive players. He's on the Raiders. So those are our picks this week. Danny, thank you for coming on our show today. We'll have some results next week and some more picks. Tori, you want to just stay here? We'll run through some quick stories and then do Tori topics?
Yep.
All right, Danny, signing off, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay, let's blow through a couple stories real quick. We'll shorten up that football segment in the coming weeks so we can fit in some more stories. College football opened up this weekend. Not as exciting to the pros for me, but still there's some stories to talk about. Ohio State blows out Virginia Tech. They're still unanimously number one. They got all 61 first-place votes in the AP poll. But the SEC has 10 teams in the top 25. If my math is right, 1 out of every 2.5 football teams is from the SEC.
Yeah. Well, my favorite, but that's all well and good, but they only have 3 teams in the top 10, which I think is a good sign for college football. I think it was getting too SEC dominant for a while, and there were too many SEC teams at the very top of the rankings, and the SEC actually only has 1 team in the top 5 and 3 in the top 10.
Yeah, and there's still 2 Pac-12 teams in the top 10. There's still USC and there's still Oregon. Stanford got beat by Northwestern, which is embarrassing.
That's a bad look. I thought Northwestern only had journalists. I didn't know they had any actual sports players.
Yeah, I don't know. Something happens. There's something in the water. Stanford goes down. That's bad. Arizona State lost. They dropped out of the top 25.
UCLA is still in the top 15.
UCLA beat Virginia pretty handily. Wisconsin got blown out by Alabama. Alabama may be the best team in the league right now, or in the country. Ohio State looks great, especially with their quarterback turned wide receiver. Did you see that spin move J.T. Barrett made? Holy cow.
Did you watch the sports science on it?
I don't need to. I had the sports passing out because so awesome. I thought that was great. Michigan's still struggling, so the Big Ten might be a little down, but Ohio State's definitely the class there.
Michigan State and Ohio State will carry the Big Ten through.
Michigan State's number 5 right now. They could make a play as well. It's going to be an interesting playoff, but I still wish it was 8 teams, not 4.
They'll get there.
They'll get there, you think so?
I think they'll have to get there.
Okay, let's talk about the Suns. Past and present Phoenix Suns, our weekly NBA flavor we throw in so Joaquin doesn't lose interest in the show.
So I don't quit.
Suns forward Markieff Morris demanded to be traded on Twitter, cost him $10,000 from the NBA. My question is, why didn't they put this rule in sooner? Shaq would have owed millions of dollars.
Well, the big man just needs to get fed in the post. You just got to feed the big man the ball.
You could just stop after the word fed. I'm kind of hungry.
I'll get hurt on company time. I'm going to heal on company time.
I eat on company time. I sleep on company time.
Count the rings, Charles.
Oh, Charles can't count any rings because he doesn't have any.
All right, so I wish this rule was here earlier, but how did Markieff Morris and Marcus Morris take the contract they wound up taking?
Is it unfair to give guys undervalued contracts, saying that they're not that the Suns promised anything, but with the guys both thinking that they're going to stay together?
The Suns said,
and then flip one.
Yeah, the Suns said, here's a bunch of money. You guys divvy it up as you want between you two twins. And then they traded one of the twins.
So that's the thing. If you sign an undervalued contract, you become an asset.
Yeah.
And so he was an asset, and they moved him.
Yeah.
That's cold.
Both of them were undervalued on their contract.
That's stone cold.
So Markieff is way undervalued in Phoenix, and he's trying to demand a trade. He has 0 leverage. NBA players have 0 leverage.
That was a Kansas City screw job.
You go.
That was insane. It's also NBA players. You can't feel too bad for them. You've got stars in the NFL making Enes Kanter money. So
yeah, that's
on
true.
non-guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, NBA players, they have guaranteed contracts, but they have 0 leverage.
So one more Sun. We'll get to a former Sun, Rex Chapman, whose moment we all know from the playoffs, that jump shot from the corner.
That's probably the individual shot I've tried to recreate the most times on a basketball court with a friend.
I totally agree. Other than trying to replicate Dan Marley's game as a child, that Rex Chapman shot was great. Rex has pled guilty to stealing from an Apple store in Scottsdale, Arizona 7 times.
Yes. Totaling nearly $15,000.
So he kept going to the counter, the self-checkout counter, pretending to check out and leaving.
Yes, and then selling the goods for cash at a pawn shop.
Is this genius? Is this stupidity? Because if anywhere's cameraed, it's the Apple store. If anything's properly inventoried, it's an Apple store.
I feel like it's genius if you're leaving the country. If he was like gonna pick everything up and going to a non-extradition country, sure, go ahead. But
steal something bigger if you're going to a non-extradition. Go to the Lexus, go self-check out at the Lexus dealer. Or whatever. But no, on a serious note, he does blame an addiction to pain-killing narcotics.
Yes.
He says he doesn't remember much of this era of his life.
He doesn't actually remember any of the acts. He can watch himself do it on film, and it's hard to plead guilty to something that you can't recall, but it's clearly him, so he has to acknowledge that he did it.
It's not like R. Kelly, that ain't me.
No. It could have been digital. It could have been digital Rex Chapman.
That's your Soul Train Award.
FIF.
All right, we don't have too much time left on the show. Let's get right into Tory Topics. She comes on every week to tell us the ridiculous things that have happened in sports. What have you got for us this week, Tory?
So on this week's Running Wild with Bear Grylls, we learned...
What is that?
It's a reality show where Bear Grylls takes a celebrity of some kind on some kind of survivor adventure.
Oh, you mean that guy who travels with like lots of beef jerky and cameramen and waits to get bailed out?
And he also tries to recreate extreme sports events.
Sorry, I'm a big Les from Survivor Man. That man went out alone.
You're a Survivor Man loyalist.
He went out alone with a camera
you're
and
a Bear Grylls
some
truther.
seal meat. He went out with a camera and seal meat into the like Alaskan wilderness.
Oh, his show's the greatest because he would have to walk miles on end to plant a camera to film himself walking across the tundra and then walk back.
He can't do his show anymore because he's worried he was going to hurt himself.
Yeah.
I don't like Bear Grylls. Okay, what's the story though?
The story is on this week's Running Wild with Bear Grylls, we learned that Drew Brees' off-season training included tackling a crocodile and eating it for dinner, scaling up and rappelling down narrow cave walls, and jumping out of a helicopter.
I mean, that goes with Neil's show that preceded us. That would have been a nice tie-in to do. What? He did not tackle a crocodile.
He tackled a crocodile while Bear Grylls...
Where?
They went to somewhere in South America or something.
All right. Well, Drew, if you've learned anything from recent media, please stay away from the stingrays. They can end you.
Scaling canyon walls... I don't know.
That's what Joaquin does. That's just called Tuesday.
That's called Tuesday.
All right, Tory, next story.
So in a sweet, warm, fuzzy story, Steph Curry kept his promise and sent his game-worn finals jersey to Drazen Petrovic's mom, who took care of him.
Wait, to whose mom?
Drazen Petrovic.
Oh, Oh, my God.
Because his mom took care of him at the 1992 three-point contest.
Or Curry was participating.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So,
and
Steph's jersey is in the Petrovic Museum in Zagreb.
Oh, that's the probably most visited museum in Zagreb now.
Is it the only museum left standing in Zagreb? Sorry.
Oh.
Wow. War-torn nation alert.
I expect that from Thomas, not from you, Joaquin.
He knows his history.
I'm just too used to making fun of my Croatian friend growing up.
Okay. All right. Well, you have an excuse. I have a friend who's Croatian.
I have a friend who's Croatian. It's okay.
God. What have we done?
No, one of the most famous pictures of Steph Curry is him as a kid at the three-point contest, and that is him at that three-point contest where he hung out with Drazen's mom.
Back before you could be a social media star like Steph's daughter.
Well, I mean, he was, essentially.
Right. Okay, Tory.
Dan Patrick returned to SportsCenter and wore his visitor badge the whole time on air as a subtle burn to those who forced him out.
You know, game recognized game. You know, he's gone on and had a wonderful career. You know, he's one of the most respected faces to ever have been at ESPN. I can't stand Keith Olbermann. I'd give me Dan Patrick or Kenny Mayne any day. But
you can't hate on the Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann Sports Center, though.
You can't, but you can hate Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, that's all
like
after he left.
He's the Fox News of ESPN.
That's just all after he left ESPN.
Yeah, I guess. He annoys me, but...
Saying his first stint at ESPN, that was gold.
Absolutely.
And then you had young Kenny Mayne and young Stuart Scott.
Booyah. But yeah, the visitor badge, you know what? ESPN's done a lot of people wrong, especially the podfather, the godfather of this show, Bill Simmons. So
Our patron saint.
Our patron saint. So we'll talk about that later, but nice move by Dan Patrick.
Rangers' Derek Holland got a haircut to pay tribute to Major League's Wild Thing. Not only does he plan to keep it for the rest of the season, but it is now Charlie Sheen approved.
Watch out, Denise Richards.
Winning.
I bet she sees that photo and is like, oh no, I thought I was done with that part of my life.
Is he going to just do all things Charlie Sheen now, like drink tiger's blood?
Tiger blood. He's got the blood of Adonis.
The Violent Torpedo of Truth tour, I believe, was the name of the ill-fated tour he went on when he thought people actually liked him.
Oh, goodness.
He didn't understand people were making fun of him.
Does the Rangers clubhouse have a goddess now?
Oh, Lord. All right, one more story, maybe two.
All right. So I didn't bring it up last week, and I'm sure that you were very upset that I didn't. The Kings announced Vlade as being promoted to GM, and Peja is now the Director of Player Personnel and Development. We're getting the team back together.
What are these guys now? Is Bobby Jackson selling concessions now? Like what?
No, Vlade's going to trade for Hidu.
Trade for Turkoglu. What's Lawrence Funderburk up to?
I don't know, man.
Who is Lawrence Funderburk?
He's selling used cars at Swift Auto in Sacramento now.
Scott Pollard takes tickets at the door.
I'm hoping that we can get Christy and Scott Pollard on as like color commentators at this point.
Oh, can we get Doug Christie's wife on the show?
On our show?
Bring her on.
No, is she our goddess?
She's my priestess. Doug Christie's my priest.
What have we done?
Nothing. We've done nothing. One more.
Okay, so I'm going to do this one for me and for hope of my league. The consensus pick so far for Offensive Rookie of the Year by NFL.com is complete landslide Amari Cooper.
Why would you pick a preseason favorite? It doesn't make any sense.
They just have full faith that he's going to wind up being the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
It's never the person you think
it
it's
never
going to
is,
be. Even through 8 weeks last year, it was going to be Sammy Watkins, and he got blown away by Odell Beckham Jr.
I can still have hope. Hope.
Watkins is now the third best receiver in that class because Mike Evans is really good. All right, well, we're going to wrap up our